We all know generative AI is a marketer's dream, right? It's changing everything. But here's the thing, it could also be your company's worst nightmare. As we all race to use these incredible tools, are we accidentally feeding them our most valuable secrets? Let's talk about how you can use AI without getting burned.
Now, just so we're clear up front, all the insights you're about to hear come directly from Chapter 2 of a tutorial from Virtualization Options LLC. We're really zeroing in on the essentials of data security and privacy that they lay out.
So let's get right to the heart of it with the one question that should probably be keeping every marketer up at night. Is your AI assistant leaking your company's secrets? The short answer, and you might not like this, is almost certainly yes. And it's probably happening in ways you haven't even thought about.
Okay, so we're going to tackle this head-on with a clear 5-step game plan. First, we're going to uncover the hidden data risks. Then, we'll learn how to actually classify your information. After that, we'll navigate the very tricky world of privacy laws. Fourth, we'll figure out how to assess your own specific AI risks. And finally, and this is the big one, we'll talk about building a security culture.
All right, let's kick things off with what I think is the biggest blind spot for most of us in marketing, the hidden data risk. And right at the center of this whole thing is a little 3-letter acronym you absolutely need to know, PII. That's personally identifiable information.
And here's the key takeaway. This is absolutely crucial to understand. PII isn't just about the obvious stuff like names and emails. No, it's any piece of data that can point to a specific person, especially when you start combining it with other bits of information. As marketers, we are sitting on a literal goldmine of this stuff, and we have to start treating it that way.
Think of PII as having two flavors. On one side, you have the direct identifiers, the stuff that's super obvious, right? Full names, email addresses, phone numbers. But then there's the other side of the coin, the indirect stuff. Things like IP addresses, device IDs, browser cookies, even location data. Alone, they might not seem like much, but when you put them together, wow, they can paint a surprisingly detailed picture of a real person.
And listen, this goes way beyond just customer data. We're talking about the real crown jewels of your company, your pricing strategies, your sales forecasts, unreleased product details, all of it. Every time you or someone on your team pastes that kind of info into a public AI tool, you're basically handing your secret playbook over to the world.
So, how in the world do we tame this data beast? Well, you can't protect what you don't understand. The first step? You've got to get organized. You need a system. So let's dive into our second section here and build a data classification framework that will actually keep us safe. This 4-tier system is about to become your new best friend. Seriously. Think of it like this. You've got public data, which is fair game. Then there's internal, for your team's eyes only. Moving up, you get confidential, which is where things start getting serious. And at the very top, the really sensitive stuff, restricted data.
And with those levels come the rules of the road. It's actually pretty straightforward. Public data? Go nuts, no restrictions. Internal data? Okay, keep it inside the house. Use your company's own secure, approved platforms. Confidential? You need to anonymize it first and get approval. And restricted data? That is a total no-fly zone. Never, ever, under any circumstances. Simple, right?
Okay, so protecting data isn't just a smart move, it's the law. And that brings us to the, well, let's call it the wonderful world of privacy regulations. As marketers, we're on the front lines of this stuff, so we absolutely have to know the rules of engagement.
Get ready for the alphabet soup of privacy law. You've got GDPR, CCPA, CPRA, and a whole bunch of other acronyms you have to deal with. It's a constantly changing landscape, a total minefield, and I'm telling you, pleading ignorance is not a defense that will save you from the consequences.
And if you're sitting there thinking, phew, GDPR, that's a Europe thing. I don't have to worry about it. Think again. If you have even one customer, just one, who lives in the EU, you are on the hook. GDPR has a very long arm, and it reaches all the way across the globe.
Still not convinced this is a huge deal? Let me just throw one number at you. $4.35 million. That was the global average cost of a single data breach last year. We're not just talking about a fine, we're talking about a financial hit that could cripple your company, not to mention the damage to your reputation that could last for years.
Okay, so the risks are huge. I get it. But this isn't about being scared to use AI. It's about being smart. It's time to get strategic. In this next section, we'll break down how to assess your AI risks so you can focus your energy where it actually matters most.
Here it is, your 4-point checklist for any AI tool. Every time you or your team wants to try something new, run it through this. First, how sensitive is the data? Second, how much data are we talking about? Third, how secure is the platform itself? And fourth, what's the absolute worst-case scenario if this goes wrong? Run through this every single time, and you'll always know where you stand.
You know, you might think data breaches are all about these sophisticated hackers and dark rooms, right? But the reality, it's much more mundane. It's us. A staggering 83% of data breaches involve simple human error. And what's even crazier, it takes on average 287 days to even realize you've been breached. This isn't a technology problem, you guys. It's a people problem.
And that brings us to our final, and honestly, our most critical mission, building a security culture. Because at the end of the day, all the tech and all the policies in the world don't matter. Your people are your last and your best line of defense.
You can't just send out a memo that says, be more secure. It just doesn't work that way. A real security culture isn't something that's mandated from the top down. It has to be grown from the ground up, with consistent messaging, practical training, and just a shared sense of responsibility.
So what does that look like? Well, it's built on these 5 pillars. It starts at the top with leadership that actually walks the talk. Then you need clear communication, no jargon. You need practical, hands-on training for your team. You have to use positive reinforcement. And finally, you have to create a space where it feels safe for someone to raise their hand and say, hey, I think I messed up. Get these 5 things right, and you'll be unstoppable.
So here's the bottom line. In the age of AI, your team is going to be one of 2 things: your greatest asset or your biggest liability. Your choice. If you build a culture of security, you turn that team into an impenetrable shield. So the question is, what are you going to build?